The Meiji Restoration, the period between January 25th, 1868 to July 30th, 1912. A 44-year period of massive change in Japan, whereas Japan went from a feudal society under samurai and shogun to a modern global military and economic power. So,
how did this happen?
First, let's get some background. Our story begins in Japan. Big shocker. It's 1180, and Japan is in the firm grasp of the emperor. However, the more militaristic Minamoto clan challenged the aristocratic imperial Taira clan. The Minamoto, with better warriors and some daring strategies, destroyed the Taira, establishing the Ashikaga shogunate, ending the war in the Battle of Danura in 1185. Military rule had come to Japan. The Ashikaga shogun had a firm grasp on power until the Onin War broke out in 1457, soon resulting in a full-blown civil war, the Sengoku Jidai. This was battle royales before they were cool or even existed. It was every clan for themselves. This was essentially 146 years of unending war. It was during this period samurai were in their element. This is where our depiction of samurai usually come from. The daisho, kimonos, undying loyalty, seppukus, duels, Seriko Shadows Die Twice, all that good stuff. But as all things, it came to an end. In 1573, Oda Nobunaga finally ended the period by taking Kyoto and eliminating all opposition. Extra History has a pretty cool video series on this if you're interested. Soon thereafter, Tokugawa Ieyasu rose to the position of shogun in 1621. He locked the country from foreigners, whom he feared as destabilizing. When his son, Tokugawa Iemitsu, came to power, he locked Japan into its feudal class structure and persecuted Christians. His actions essentially placed Japan in an alternate dimension, locked as a feudal society while the world around them modernized. During this period, Japan saw 200 years of peace and prosperity. This went on until July 1853, when Commodore Matthew C. Perry arrived in Uraga Bay. He carried with him giant, terrifying, black cloud-puffing beasts. In true American fashion, Matthew Perry arrived with a fleet of warships. He issued his ultimatum: open the country or end up like China, which was humiliated and absolutely destroyed in opium wars and is now having major economical, civil, and political problems. China was currently collapsing in a slow and painful death. The Japanese military was still using matchlock firearms, a feudal system, and had no navy and certainly no industry. Iemochi chose to open the country rather than have it be obliterated. He signed some very unequal treaties that basically allowed foreign vessels and citizens to run freely around Japan. However, some people weren't so happy about it. The Shishi, samurai of the Satsuma and Chosu domains, saw Japan as sacred and the West encroaching on that. They loathed Iemochi for allowing the barbarians run rampant in Japan without the emperor, who was a god king's, consent. Thus, they started the movement of Sa no Joy, revere the emperor, expel the barbarians. They supported the imperial court in Kyoto and wanted the emperor to have an active instead of a puppet seat in Japan's affairs. The samurai of this movement started killing Westerners and those they consorted with. Meanwhile, more and more lords, or daimyos, were dissatisfied with the shogun and started to defect to the emperor's cause. Also, meanwhile, the British government saw a decline of the shogun and saw no reason to deal with them. They sent Harry Parks to help westernize the emperor's army. Meanwhile, the French chose to support the shogun and help them westernize. The shogun, realizing his position, attacked Chosu, one of the emperor's daimyos, and failed. The final shogun, Yoshinobu, decided to compromise rather than risk full-blown civil war. He still wanted a high-standing power, but the imperial court outmaneuvered him, and Meiji, the new emperor, rose to the throne. In response, Yoshinobu attacked the imperial capital of Kyoto, only to be defeated. Imperial forces then moved to take the shogunate capital of Edo, which surrendered without a fight. Fighting continued until the summer of 1868, but the shogun had effectively fallen. The reign of the shogun was over, and the Empire of Japan was born. Aware of the West's overwhelming military and economic power, the Empire of Japan was quick to adapt the West's ways. The imperial court decided to abolish Japan's decentralized feudal system in order to create a stronger, more centralized Japan. The imperial court also moved their capital from Kyoto to Edo, which is now renamed a little old city called Tokyo. The empire took down the daimyo, instead assigning them to be governors of new prefectures instead of their old feudal domains. However, by disassembling the feudal structure, which was in place for hundreds of years, would mean disassembling the samurai, which numbered almost 2 million in 1868. The Empire of Japan officially disbanded the samurai, having them become simple commoners. But the Tokugawa system of class restriction meant that the samurai were only warriors, and merchants were only merchants. So, samurai basically failed at civilian life, leading to samurai uprising in Satsuma. But this samurai rebellion just showed how Japan had changed, because the empire sent their professional army and defeated the samurai at the Battle of Shirayama. This revolt was the last time that the old ways challenged the new. Japan had successfully modernized. Now this is actually a really big feat. In comparison, China wouldn't be able to fully modernize until 1950. Japan would soon gain military dominance in Asia, first by beating China in a full and utter defeat. Then they beat the Russians, the first time a European power lost an Asian one. In World War I, the Japanese fought the German colonies, and finally, in World War II, it took the combined forces of the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, China, and the Dutch to take the Japanese military down. What's more, by World War II, the Japanese Navy was the third strongest in the world, behind the US and British Navy. In its height, the Japanese army numbered 6,095,000 at its peak. By comparison, the US Army, when it joined World War II, numbered 1,462,315. And it's because of the Meiji period, Japan is now enjoying a massive economy. It's the third largest in the world by nominal GDP. I mean, it obviously affects us today. I mean, how many of you are going to go play your Switch after this, or be an awkward otaku and binge some anime? I'm personally grateful for the Meiji Restoration, because if not for the Meiji Restoration, I won't get the opportunity to sink thousands of hours of Japanese media into my life. I just realized how sad that was.